I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed.
So I guess they've always been quite woke.
That's Dan Wootton Tonight on TV, radio and online, Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Lawrence Fox, on GB News. Frank, fun, fearless and sometimes serious. Much as I love a Friday night punch-up, what I really want is a battle of ideas. I want to look at things differently. I want to hear different voices and engage with your unique experiences. Every Friday at 7 p.m. on GB News.
Hello, I'm Esther McVeigh.
And I'm Philip Davis.
Whether you're watching or listening on TV, online or on radio, we handpick the latest stories, debates and expert opinions for your weekend. So whether that's politics, news or showbiz, we've got it covered.
Join us every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on GB News.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for Gloria Meets. In exclusive interviews, I'll be finding out who our politicians really are and what they really think.
It's something that you would never want anyone to suffer.
I didn't know what channels there were. I didn't think I'd be believed.
I must have weighed about 7 stone and I'm 5'8".
My instincts was to sort of cover this up. I mean, clearly that was a mistake.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's Eamon Holmes here from Breakfast on GB News. We're not just on your television and your screens, you know.
We're on DAB plus digital radio, so you can listen to your favourite shows on the move.
If you've not yet listened to GB News Radio, it's very simple. We're on your radio player and TuneIn apps, on your smart speaker, phone or tablet, or online at gbnews.uk.
Take us with you wherever you go. GB News Radio.
You never have to miss a moment of the People's Channel.
Christmas miracle. Welcome to a special Christmas Day edition of Tonight Live with me, Josh Howie. We have a packed show tonight. Coming up over the next 2 hours, we will tell you how to make the most of those Christmas leftovers, have a bit of a laugh at some Christmas fails, and comedian Tobias Persson will be live from Sweden to tell us how they celebrate the festive season Scandinavian style. Plus plenty of chat with my brilliant panel, including a full paper review at 10:30. But first, let's get the latest news headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Josh, thank you very much. This is the latest from the GB Newsroom. The King has used his Christmas broadcast to praise individuals, charities and faith groups supporting those in need. In the historic first address, the King also sympathised with households struggling with the cost of living crisis, speaking about the great anxiety and hardship people are facing. The King highlighted the selfless dedication of the armed forces and emergency services, calling it a value embodied by the late Queen. Earlier, he attended the royal family's traditional Christmas Day church service in Sandringham. The King and the Queen Consort were joined by the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children.
His Majesty also paid tributes to the armed forces and emergency service workers who had worked over the period of the Queen's death, but also in the months since. I think it was particularly significant he referred to specifically the public sector workers, including teachers and emergency services, although, as I've already mentioned, because in the last month there have been public service strikes. Nurses have gone on strikes, train drivers have gone on strikes, even ambulance drivers have as well. Now, the King did not officially specifically refer to the strikes. He remained very much impartial, but he did give a slight nod to the work and the service that the public sector provide.
Around 10 people are believed to have been buried in an avalanche in a skiing area in Austria. That's according to the Austrian press agency. The report also says that one person was rescued, but 2 people are still missing. APA says several helicopters and search teams were deployed to the area. And the search is continuing for a gunman who killed a 26-year-old woman in Merseyside on Christmas Eve. She was celebrating Christmas with friends and family when she was shot and killed. Police say she wasn't thought to be targeted. The woman was taken to hospital where she died from her injuries. 4 men were also taken to hospital with gunshot wounds after the incident. Merseyside police are urging anyone with information to come forward.
Now is the time for our communities to come together with us to show that the use of guns on our streets will not be tolerated. Our thoughts and condolences are very much with the family of the victim. Today, they should have been celebrating the joy of Christmas. Instead, they're trying to come to terms with what has happened and come to terms with the loss of a much-loved daughter and sister.
Over 1 million Americans and Canadians are facing Christmas Day without power as a winter storm continues to sweep across North America. According to reports, 28 people have now died so far in that weather-related incident across the country. Nearly 3,000 flights were cancelled yesterday, with some airports closed due to the weather conditions. New York's governor has declared a state of emergency. And the Prince and Princess of Wales have shared a Christmas painting created by 9-year-old Prince George. The Prince painted a reindeer with 2 robins sitting on its antlers, and the message attached to the picture says, "Merry Christmas." TV, online and DAB Plus radio. This is GB News. Now it's back to Tonight Live with Josh Howie.
Merry Christmas and welcome to our Christmas Day special Tonight Live with me, Josh Howie. Coming up on tonight's show, are you sitting at home with plenty of leftover turkey from Christmas dinner and wondering what to do with it? Well, cooking expert Tonya Buxton will be here to provide some festive tips. With the news that one poor guy used his mum's very expensive wallpaper as wrapping paper, we will be discussing some other Christmas fails. So please do email us if you have some good ones to share. Comedian Tobias Persson will be here to tell us how they are spending the festive season over in Sweden. And with me throughout the show is my brilliant all-star panel of political commentator David Aldroyd-Bolt, author and columnist Emma Wolfe will be joining us in a minute, and the TV personality and entrepreneur Ryan Mark Parson. But before all of that, how about a sappy Christmas message? I've got to admit, when I was woken up this morning at 6:15, I wasn't feeling very grateful. Seeing 2 days of wrapping instantly undone in a whirlstorm of tearing paper with no one noticing how hard I'd worked on getting the corners perfect and all the gaps taped down didn't exactly improve my mood. But then something magical happened. The thank yous started. For the first time, totally unprovoked, each of my 5 children, from the 5 to the 13-year-old, thanked each other for their Secret Santa presents and then came and did the same to their mother and I with a hug. I say magical because that might be the effect, but the cause is something very much more grounded in reality. If I could sum up the one bit of parenting advice that would make not just children, but everything better, it'd be teaching kids to say thank you. Apart from littering, nothing winds me up more as this breach of etiquette, as those families unlucky enough to go on holiday with us can attest as I shamelessly take over the parental responsibility in this matter if they're failing with a task. It's a habit that has to be ingrained from the very get-go, with ever constant reminders, because as we move out into the world, it affects our entire outlook. Indeed, it establishes our very relationship with the world. Without gratitude is entitlement. And whilst that may work well for the entitled, it has an adverse effect on those around them, people and resources being just things to be used up and discarded once they've got what they wanted. On the other hand, expressing gratitude is the recognition of our connection to each other, that we are dependent on one another, that we need each other. It's a recognition of what we've got, what we've been given, and how we got it, even if well earned. If you're spiritually inclined, expressing gratitude to your particular deity is the recognition for the many blessings that surround us, blessings that we might otherwise take for granted. Now, I recognize that there are many out there in the world, even many of you who are watching today, who might not be feeling particularly blessed right now. Now, hopefully it's for something passing. You might have a stomachache or early hangover from overindulging. You might be exhausted from dealing with a tricky family member. But I'm sure that you can still find something to be grateful for. And hey, here I am working on Christmas, but I'm thankful for a job that I love. I'm thankful for being given a voice. I'm thankful for health and a wonderful family who are healthy. I'm thankful for my children who woke up today and found presents under the tree. I'm thankful to the team here, also working on Christmas Day to create a fun few hours for us. Mark, Rebecca, Sophia, Jack, Maria, Steve, Ark and Megan directing, Carl in social media, Tatiana, who's been working 14-hour shifts bringing us the news over the last couple of days. There's a couple of people in monitors who I don't actually know what they do. Security. Anyway, the point is, and also thank you to our great panellists and our guests, but I'm particularly thankful because I know how hard this time of year can be, particularly for some, because perhaps you have issues with your health, perhaps you lost loved ones, perhaps you've not had the opportunity yet to find new loved ones. But I just want you to know that you too are very, very much appreciated. This phrase is bandied about a lot, but putting aside the cynicism, GB News is a family. Now, there are disagreements, a bit of shouting, mistakes are made. There are people you might not normally come into contact with. But there's also loyalty and laughter and compromise as we have become enmeshed in one another's lives. So, a big thank you for joining us today and for allowing us into your lives. Now let's have some fun. Right, let's go to my panel now for some Christmas thoughts. Political commentator David Aldroyd-Bolt and the TV personality and entrepreneur Ryan Mark Parsons are both here with me. Hello, author Emma Wolf will be joining us shortly as well. Ryan Mark, it's Christmas Day.
I
What
know,
are you doing
Merry
here,
Christmas.
Mate? What are you doing? Merry Christmas. Why are you here?
I don't know why.
You've got your jumper on, though.
I'm keeping it festive. I've got the Christmas spirit with me, getting the energy here. But I've had a very chilled Christmas so far. I'm feeling very stuffed. I've had a lot of Christmas lunch, but I'm ready to let it all out on tonight's panel. Well, not the food, but my opinions.
I appreciate that. And David, I mean, it's nice to see you dressed in a very relaxed manner for Christmas Day.
Well, you know, velvet isn't the usual thing to wear on a political news panel. I, too, am, like you, grateful for the opportunity to be here, grateful for the opportunity to have a voice where so many don't, and hopefully to speak for those people who feel that they have something to say but haven't the medium of expressing it. And I'm also grateful that there are, in fact, very, very few people driving around the streets of London today, so it's probably the easiest cab ride I've ever had to get here. And thank you to your team for organising that. Like Ryan Mark, there's been lots of food today, and it makes you realise that we are, though we're living in a terribly difficult economic time, terribly difficult global financial times, it is still possible with just a few good friends, family and a decent bird in the oven to have the most wonderful time.
Absolutely. And Ryan Mark, do you agree with me what I was saying about... I mean, you seem too young to have children, surely, unless you don't...
Well, no. I'm 22, but no children yet.
No kids yet. Hold
quite
off.
yet.
But what do you think about that? When you do have children, are you going to teach them the pleases and thank yous? Is that top of the list?
Yes, absolutely. I'm all for Christmas etiquette, and, well, etiquette in general. And I think manners around the table is so important. And I love the traditions that we have at Christmas in this country, and I'm all for being a bastion for that. So absolutely, when I have children, they will be learning every single detail when it comes to etiquette at Christmas time.
And David, you said did you have a turkey?
We did. Thankfully, I was with dear friends in London today, all of us who live here and don't have the opportunity to go off to family, so we got together and had probably the most enormous turkey I've ever seen in my life. So I'd like to thank my host, Mr. J.P. Loveland, for that. It's interesting what you said about manners, and I hope that with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in charge, he should remember his old school motto, manners maketh man, and perhaps he can lead a charge for gratitude, for hospitality, for general good courtesy, because it's something I have noticed, I'm afraid, over the past few years, that seems to have fallen off a bit among each other. And, you know, for instance, you go in a shop and there's shop assistants on the phone. There's no please or thank you when you're being asked for payment or thanked for it. It's just sort of, yeah, that's what you give us now when people are interacting in public transport, particularly when, as at the moment, we have a general strike in all but name, and public transport's hard to come by and people don't have their post. I think if we were to try, as our general New Year's resolution for the nation, to bring back courtesy and good humour in the face of adversity, I think that the nation might be a little happier during difficult times.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with just saying thank you to the bus driver. That's where it seems to be the most British thing that you could do, and teaching everybody to do that might sort of spread outwards, I guess, is the idea. And did you have Ryan? Mark, what did you get for Christmas? Did you get that jumper for Christmas? Is that?
No, I've recycled this jumper actually.
Okay.
I didn't get the jumper this year, but no, I'm very grateful. I got a few gifts. But also, I was very grateful for the company, and I think that's what people need to remember as well. It's not just about the material goods, it's about spending that quality time with family that you might not otherwise get. And Christmas Day is a time where you can all come together, whether it's friends, family, if you live in London and you're going back home, or whatever, or wherever you are, and whatever you're doing. I think Christmas Day is a time for bringing people together, sharing those memories, and just really having a good time. And I've done all of that, so I'm very, very content.
I got to be honest with you, Ryan, Mark. That was the answer of someone who got some pretty rubbish presents. That's what I see. It's like, oh, I'm just thankful to be... No, mate, you didn't get what you wanted.
I got some socks, I got a Satsuma.
Yeah, you got...
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And what about you, David? Did you get anything good? Did you get a cravat?
I didn't know. I was given a large selection of miniatures, which is always useful in a crisis, and
Did
chocolate...
you say miniatures?
Yes. We had Lucky Dip of miniatures. Which was probably the funniest Christmas present I've had for a long time.
How posh are your friends?
Not terribly. It was just something he bought at an auction lot. We all had chocolates, and my favourite thing, as ever, is a great many books. I'll never be unhappy if I'm given books. So it was a good Christmas all round. And I must say, one of the things for which I'm really thankful is the wonderful music that I was able to hear when I went to church at the Brompton Oratory this morning. I think for me, Christmas is simply not Christmas without beginning it by celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ and remembering why it is that billions of people throughout history have celebrated, do celebrate, and will continue to celebrate this wonderful festival.
So what time were you up this morning, then?
Oh, not terribly early, 9:30. Thankfully, the Catholic Church is reasonable about these things, and we don't have to start till 11 a.m.
Yeah, mate, up at 6:15. I'm hardcore. Little kids.
Oh, that's the children for you. Lucky not to have children yet.
Yeah, and Ryan, Mark, did you go to church?
No, I was planning on...
Heathen!
Well... I did try, but I was so bad with the presents this year. Everything was so last minute. I've been going out every day, getting quite drunk with friends, and I know that's not a good excuse.
You're making me jealous.
This is a season to be jolly.
Well, exactly, yes.
Why are you dangling this carrot in front of me? Friends, alcohol.
Friends, alcohol, late nights, leaving the club at 4 a.m. So I have been terrible this year, and I was rapping last minute, so I didn't get to go to church, but next year I will.
Okay, good. And yes, the rapping. I can't do any more rapping. If you cannot imagine what it's like rapping for 5 children. Oh, it has been 48 hours of absolute total pain. As you imagine. And so you guys have had your lunch, and you had a big lunch as well. Ryan, Mark, did you sort of get a turkey as well? Is that part of your tradition?
Yes, I had a turkey, but I wasn't involved in any of the preparation. I kind of just strolled into the house.
Wow, look
I sat down.
That's why you're both so relaxed. You've done no cooking.
I've done no work.
My wife was just like, I don't know if she's watching, she minds me saying this, but, she went back to bed, and then I got the chickens on. I didn't do turkey this year. I couldn't be bothered. They get too dry for the kids. But put the chickens on, did the potatoes. I mean, what a super dad I am here.
Well, I applaud you for that.
And then obviously, I bought my own presents. I'm not trying to make anybody feel sorry for me, but at least I got what I wanted. That's the important thing. And I have to say, it wasn't this jumper. This was bought by the production team. This is the budget of the show as it's going on. Now, it's interesting, David, you sort of seem to know Rishi Sunak's school motto. Is that like a party trick? Can you do every public school motto throughout the land?
Not every. I could probably do the top 3. But the thing, well, Sunak is interesting because he's only the second Prime Minister we've had in history who went to Winchester, the other being Henry Addington, and famously of whom it was said, Addington is to Pitt as London is to Paddington. He was a rather terrible failure as a Prime Minister, so I hope that Mr Sunak won't follow in his what would you call it, schoolmates' footsteps in that way. Eton, of course, floreat Etona, which they do very well. They let Eton flourish and perhaps occasionally forget that they're supposed to be running the country for the rest of us as well. But, you know, manners maketh man, I think, is a good thing to stick by. I think it's one of those simple catchphrases that if you can live by it, and of course we all err at times and we all fall off when it's a bad day and the bus is late and it's raining or, you know, whatever. But fine, if we can, as I said earlier, if we can remember courtesy and remember good humour in the face of a little adversity, I think we'll all be rather happier in 2023. 22 seems to me to have been a rather ill-tempered year all round. People afraid at the edges, you know, after 2 years of lockdown, of COVID, and of just generally feeling as though the world's against us. Let's go into 23 with a bit of optimism, a bit of courtesy, and a little bit of joy in our hearts that though things are bad, they could certainly be a lot worse. You know, we are not in the situation of Ukraine, of having a neighbour trying to invade us. We just have one that's trying to leave us, in fact. We are not in the situation that so many people around the world are in, by and large, of starvation, of lack of water. We're in a very fortunate position to be in the top 5 of the nations in the world in terms of our income and in terms of our economic power. So if we can bear that in mind, be optimistic, and remember our good manners, say the pleases and thank yous that makes everybody feel better and makes everybody smile, shouldn't we be a better country for it?
You know what? I'll go along with that. Very lovely monologue right there. So we're going to go to a break now. Thank you so much, guys. But don't go away. We have cooking expert Tonya Buxton here, and she's going to have some advice on what to do with your turkey leftovers, plus some other festive tips.
Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Join me, Dan Wootton. I'll bring you the sharpest takes and hottest debates. Do you not believe in prisons?
I don't believe in prisons.
I'm completely stunned. I guarantee you there'll be no spin, no bias, no censorship.
I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed.
So I guess they've always been quite woke.
That's Dan Wootton tonight on TV, radio and online. Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for Gloria Meets. In exclusive interviews, I'll be finding out who our politicians really are and what they really think.
It's something that you would never want anyone to suffer.
I didn't know what channels there were. B, I didn't think I'd be believed.
I must have weighed about 7 stone and I'm 5'8".
My instincts was to sort of cover this up. I mean, clearly that was a mistake.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's Eamon Holmes here from Breakfast on GB News. We're not just on your television and your screens, you know.
We're on DAB plus digital radio, so you can listen to your favourite shows on the move.
If you've not yet listened to GB News Radio, it's very simple. We're on your radio player and TuneIn apps, on your smart speaker, phone or tablet, or online at gbnews.uk.
Take us with you wherever you go. GB News Radio.
You never have to miss a moment of the People's Channel.
My name's Tom Harwood and join me 9:30 a.m. every weekday for The Briefing, your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about what's going on in politics today.
I wonder if this is a deal that might need to be like the biscuits in this factory, twice baked.
Is there not an opportunity here to win out against the extremes?
Tom Harwood, GB News.
What are you going to do about it?
Things should have been done differently, and they certainly are being done differently.
Don't miss it. The Briefing with me, Tom Harwood, 9:30 Monday to Friday on GB News.
Hello, I'm Simon Evans. Join me on GB News for Headliners at 11 p.m, where I'll be joined by 2 of the country's top comedians as we take a look at tomorrow's newspapers tonight. If it's a big story, we'll be covering it, I guarantee, but we'll also have some fun along the way. That's GB News headliners at 11 p.m. We won't put you to sleep, unlike some of the other pay-per-review shows out there. So join us, 11 p.m, 7 nights a week.
Welcome back to our Hootenanny Christmas special on No Budget, because it all got spent on this jumper. Right, let us say hello to our third panellist, the author and columnist, Emma Wolf, who has joined us now. Merry Christmas, Emma.
Merry
How
Christmas,
has your
Josh.
day been? Let's not talk about your journey in.
Let's not.
Let's leave that
I'm
out.
here.
You're here now. And
but
thank
I
you so
forgot
much
my
for being
reindeer antlers in the terrible taxi.
Oh, my gosh. And now they're going to go home and give it as a present.
No.
So, how has your Christmas day been apart from that, then?
Yeah, nice. Nice. Quiet, mostly just family stuff. Yeah, enjoyable.
Were you cooking? Did you have someone else do it for you?
If I was cooking, it would have been a no. I've never done a Christmas dinner, actually.
What?
No, I've never
How
done
have
a
you
Christmas
managed that
dinner.
one?
I've always been kind of, I've done, helped my mother peel the potatoes or scrub the carrots, or that's where I run out. I don't really know what else you do with a Christmas dinner. And I'm a vegetarian, which is pretty dull, yeah.
So you're the one who rocks up and whoever's cooking has to make another meal. Is Emma coming? Oh, my God.
All they have to do is make sure they don't put the potatoes right nestled up next to the turkey, and I'm fine.
And that's it? You're happy enough with that?
Yeah, exactly.
And did you get any nice... what was your best present this year, then?
Yeah, I got a really lovely... I forgot to wear it. I got a really lovely silver necklace, which I'm very pleased with.
You didn't leave that in the taxi, did you?
No, I didn't, no.
OK, fine. Well, wonderful. Well, welcome here. We'll have a lovely chat with you in a second. Time now for all-important question, which plagues all of us, really, this time of year. What on earth am I going to do with all this bloody turkey? Of course, not Emma, because she's vegetarian. Now, we've all gorged ourselves for Christmas lunch, but there's still plenty more days of the holiday to get through. Who better to ask than the renowned restaurateur and GB News favourite, Tonya Buxton. Good evening, Tonya.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, have you and your family had a wonderful Christmas day? It looks very Christmassy in the background.
It's very Christmassy around here. I don't know if you can see. But yes, we've had a lovely Christmas day. I've cooked for 22 people so far.
Wow.
And the bulk of the guests, I know this sounds like a terrible thing to say, but they were perfect guests. It was my family. And they all left at around 6 o'clock, which is when they've been here since 1:30 and I've fed everybody. That's what perfect guests do. They then leave us to our own devices. And my lot have just made the most awesome turkey sandwiches you'll ever know. I mean, it's an art form, the way we make turkey sandwiches, because, you've got the stuffing, you've got the cranberry sauce, you've got a bit of potatoes, parsnips. Actually, mine add extra layers of boursin. Do you know boursin, the kind of soft cheese?
Yeah.
They put that in it as well. And then they dip it into the gravy. So it's a dirty turkey sandwich.
Oh, my gosh. This is actually making me hungry, even though I am properly full. So, but wait. We haven't talked about the bread. What type of bread do you...
so it's sourdough. Always use a nice sliced sourdough.
Yes, you haven't eaten anything but sourdough for 20 years now, I assume.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's got to be
Fair
that.
enough.
It definitely has to be that.
And how long can those keep you going then? Surely there's some point where turkey sandwiches get slightly sick.
There's one point, especially, and it's not just the turkey that sometimes we overdo. You overdo things like the stuffing. And if you make your own stuffing and you end up with, we've actually got 2 trays of stuffing here now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pasta sauce with it, which is absolutely delicious. You just kind of break it up.
That is a great idea, because I got my timings wrong with my stuffing. So I put it in too late, and then we couldn't have but it was cooking through whilst we were eating. So this is very good. So how do you do that then? What do you do to make a pasta sauce?
So literally, you just fry up some onions and some garlic. I would add in it's a little bit of kind of something wet, like some tomato sauce. Then chop up your stuffing and throw it into the sauce mixture. That's
okay,
it.
That's
because all the
sauces.
flavours in the stuffing. The stuffing. I mean, I don't know what your stuff is. Your stuffing flavoursome?
People don't normally ask me about my stuffing, but yes. That's a very personal question.
If you
Come
have
on.
flavoursome stuffing, you really don't need to do anything at all. But if your stuffing isn't flavoursome, then you're going to have to add some flavours to it. But there is nothing better. I mean, there really isn't anything better than a turkey curry a couple of days after Christmas. I mean, I kind of think that I prefer the turkey curry more than I like the roast turkey.
Wow, I hadn't even considered such a thing, putting those two things together. What about Brussels sprouts? Are you a traditionalist?
Well, this is the first year that we didn't boil the Brussels sprouts. We decided to bake them. So we cut them in half, saute it up, just put some oil there, a little bit of garlic, drizzle them in olive oil and bake them in the oven. And that was much nicer than your normal boiled Brussels sprouts. But then what I did do, and this is my big secret, because I don't like the flavour of Brussels sprouts. Does anyone like the flavour of Brussels sprouts, the actual Brussels sprouty flavour?
I mean, we only eat them because they were his favourite.
They were his favourite, yes. So I make this pancetta butter, which is really easy. You just get some butter, you fry off some pancetta, you chop up some chestnuts, chop up some sage leaves, and then just kind of pound it into your butter that's softened, and then just wrap it in some greaseproof paper, put it in the fridge, and then you end up with this really delicious flavoursome butter, which you can put on anything which you don't really like the flavour of, because then the sage and the pancetta take over.
Wow, and obviously we've got a few more days of holiday, hopefully for some people who are working. Any other cooking tips? I mean, is it now just about taking it easy for the next couple of days? Or is it just give up and just start ordering Deliveroo or whatever?
No, never. I've never in my entire life ordered from Deliveroo, so I don't know what you're talking about there.
Wow.
You should just cook from scratch. It doesn't need to be difficult. You've got things in the house now. You've probably stocked up. It's probably easy to make something really simple. You know, just if you've got some chicken breasts, just pan fry them, put some garlic in, add a splash of wine, a pinch of salt. Just really simple things that you can cook. Don't get Deliveroo. It's full of preservatives. It's full of crap, and it won't taste as good if you don't make it yourself. That's the fact of the matter.
That's the way it is. And what are you going to be doing for the next couple of days then?
So I very excitingly, I don't think you know this exciting piece of news, but I'm standing in for Mark Stein on the 27th, so not tomorrow, the day after.
I didn't know that. 27th. Let's put it in the diary. I'm writing it down.
Put it in the diary, and I have got some absolutely fantastic guests joining me, and we're going to call it a kind of reflections and resolution show. So we're going to talk about all the rubbish that's been happening over the past few years, but we're going to come up with some great solutions as to how to get through it all and and I'm ending on a whole happiness segment on how to make you happy.
Will you be mentioning COVID?
Well, I'm going to try not to. We're going to talk on the reflections as to how we badly, what we did during COVID. COVID for me was a cold. It was the lockdowns and what we did during those lockdowns which did the biggest damage.
Yeah, I was just joking. Sorry. But that sounds great. That sounds like a fun show. Good luck with that.
It will be.
We'll be sitting here. Hopefully, I'll leave this jumper for you.
Thank you. You wear your Christmas jumper. I'll be wearing mine too.
Okay, well, I'm slightly worried about your tree in the background, to be honest. I don't even know how you got it in there.
It's huge. It took a lot of work. It was like a 4-man job. I'll go over to it so you can have a look.
Yeah, I'm suffering from tree envy.
There you go.
I've got tree envy looking at that.
Tree.
This is a real status tree. It's making my tree. I just want to chop down my tree in disgust looking at your tree.
Well, I'm sorry to give you tree envy, but I do hope that you have a really lovely rest of your Christmas night.
Thank you so much, and great speaking to you, and Merry Christmas, and have fun on the 27th.
I will do. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, let's get our panel in on this one. So, Ryan, Mark, what are you going to do with your leftovers? It sounds like you don't have any. It sounds like you've just been cooked, you've just been handed it towards you today.
Yes, I know. It's a question actually for my family, so I need to find out. But my closest friend actually works in a 3-Michelin-star restaurant, and he's always hounding me about my lack of culinary expertise and my skills in the kitchen. So I'm actually going to go to him. He's in Norfolk. And when he gets back to London, I'm going to go to Primrose Hill where he lives. And he's actually going to give me a tutorial on what to do with leftover turkey, the stuffing, all of the pigs and blankets. And I'm going to actually create something that's almost Heston-inspired, like a deconstructed, mince pie. And I'm going to try something a bit different, a bit avant-garde, and make something for my family that I've worked so hard slaving today over the Christmas lunch. So, yeah, I'm going to try something new this year. But also, I have a dog, a new puppy, and I might give her some turkey as well if she's lucky.
Oh, OK. This is going to be a very well-fed dog.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good. And if you could send over your chef friend, I would like to learn how to make toast would be wonderful.
I'll bring him on the show.
That's great. Emma, what about yourself? What are you going to do with those leftovers?
Well, no,
Did they leave you with any? Who was it you had? Are you allowed to say who you had lunch with today?
No, I'm salivating from Tonya talking about turkey. I haven't eaten meat for 21 years, and I'm suddenly thinking maybe I'll flip.
Those sandwiches did sound
they sounded amazing.
Pretty good. I can see David is also nodding along.
We were all just sitting here going, that sounds stunning.
And then on top of that, with
mixing it up
with
in the pasta sauce, a bit of a slather of boursin, a bit of turkey curry. Really sounded delicious.
It did sound...
I'm going round to her house after the show.
Oh, really? Now this is 21 years, it's over for you?
It's over. I want one of those sandwiches on sourdough. Yum.
And you've got kids, right? Or you got a...
So I have a little 2-year-old, and to watch him destroying a mince pie is truly an experience. I didn't know he liked mince pies, and I put one in front of him today, and he just went for it. Like, he put his face in the mince pie. It was amazing.
There it is. He's not... Is he vegetarian?
No. I let him have fish.
He's allowed... You can sort of use him as your vessel to explore. Fair enough. What about you, David? Are you tempted to get those turkey sandwiches going on?
Turkey curry is the only way to make that infernal bird taste of anything normally. I must say that today was a great exception, but I don't understand why we still insist on having turkey. It's dry, it's overly expensive what it is. Why not have something really lovely like a fillet of beef or duck or goose or, go mad and get one of those insane concoctions from a butcher where they put 9 birds inside each other? If you're going to do something like that.
David, who knew you were such an iconoclast? Coming up, we are going to have a look at some funny Christmas fails. Don't go anywhere.
We are GB News, and we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for bringing us your conversations, for helping our great nation find its voice. We are here for you on radio, television and online, across England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland.
It's not the BBC, you actually get your facts right.
We are proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
Monday to Thursday on GB News, it's Bev Turner Today from 10 a.m. We're going to be here for you, our GB News family, to keep you up to date, but also make you smile.
The guy went from puberty to adultery.
And I can't wait to bring a few of my own opinions.
I have no time for cultural totalitarianism.
We'll engage in passionate, but always polite debate, with your thoughts and opinions at the centre of it all. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akue, Saturday and Sunday afternoons on GB News. Expect fiery debate and passionate discussion as me and my panel tackle some of the biggest topics hitting the headlines. It's a place for everyone's opinion. No one gets cancelled, but no one gets an easy ride.
Oh, she's on it today!
Be ready for conversations that are fierce, frank, and of course, fun. Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon from 4 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch.
You've been cancelled. Join the club.
Oh my goodness me! And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
We are GB News, the People's Channel.
And right across the United Kingdom.
You can find us on Sky Channel 512.
Virgin Media Channel 604.
Freesat Channel 216.
Freeview Channel 236. And YouView Channel 236.
You can also take us with you on DAB Plus Radio.
With the GB News app and at the website gbnews.uk.
We're absolutely everywhere.
Come join us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. We heard from the reigning monarch earlier today, so now let's chat to some TV royalty in the shape of Daniela Westbrook. Daniela played iconic character Sam Mitchell in the BBC soap opera EastEnders between 1990 and 2016. She continued to stay in the limelight, appearing in shows like I'm a Celebrity, Dancing on Ice, Celebrity Big Brother, and recently playing the fairy godmother in a West End adult pantomime of Cinderfella. That's with an S, by the way, Sin. Daniela joins me now to help celebrate this festive season. Hello, Daniela. Merry Christmas.
Hello. Merry Christmas. Hey, Merry Christmas. Sorry, I've got hardly any makeup on and I've been so stressed all day. So I look terrible, but happy Christmas, everybody.
Well, Daniela, this is the reality of Christmas, isn't it? That's what it is. This is Christmas. That's what it's about. It's about not putting on makeup.
It's just another day for us mums.
Absolutely, yeah. So have you been hosting the family today?
No, actually, I haven't. I've been at my best friend's family. Her mum hosted.
Oh, fantastic.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, she hosted all of us today, and then I came back to do the show tonight. They're all having a big party, and I've come back.
Well, fantastic. And did you get anything good from Santa?
Hello.
Did you get anything good from Santa? Well, I'll make up some. Could you hear me? We've got the Christmas gremlins going on here. Oh, there. No, can you hear me now?
Can't hear the studio.
Oh, okay. We're just going to be sorting it out. I'm just going to sort of riff magically. I can see your hand there. It's gone. She's gone. She's disappeared. Well, hopefully we're going to get her. We're going to get her back. Let's go to the panel now. And yes, guys, we're going to talk about Christmas TV before we get Daniela back. Do you guys watch some TV today?
Yes. Wonderful evening with Johnny English. You can't have Christmas Day without some form of Rowan Atkinson, whether it's Mr. Bean or Johnny English or Blackadder. It's an absolute sacrosanct part of Christmas Day for me.
You are probably, David, the poshest person I've ever met in my life. It has to be said. And what about you, Emma? Did you manage to watch any TV, or was it too busy dealing with your 2-year-old son?
I'm really sorry. I'm going to be really boring, like being a vegetarian. I don't allow television in the house. But we did start watching the 1951 version of A Christmas Carol. Okay. And that's really lovely. And
it's a classic.
It's brilliant, and I recommend it to anybody. And so I feel like that was a bit of Dickens and a bit of television, a bit of screen time, and it was fun.
It's a bit of classiness. That's okay there. So what, we're not allowing you don't use any iPad parenting with your child? No screens at all?
No screens, no.
Okie dokie. Well, child number 5, that is his best friend. That's the only way that I can cope with that there. What about you, Ryan, Mark? Did you manage to watch any TV today?
Yes, I've been trying to keep it festive. I started with The Grinch, which is a classic. I always love that film. And I've been watching a bit of Emily in Paris, which isn't so Christmassy, but I'm obsessed with that on Netflix right now. And then I think, what did I watch? I watched a bit of James Bond as well.
Oh, no,
it's been pretty all over the place.
There we go. I mean, surely that's something that everybody can agree with. We've got to watch James Bond on Christmas. That is proper tradition there. Yeah, it's... a bit of action. I am, fortunately... Have you guys watched White Lotus? Is anybody watching that?
I've been hearing a lot about this.
Oh, that's fantastic. And The Traitors, everybody swears...
I keep hearing about The Traitors.
Everybody's saying The Traitors is made. I've got to do some, proper binge-watching... I was an SAS... Oh, look, David... I'm not saying it's not for Emma, but I think you in particular will appreciate some SAS rogue heroes.
Well, yes, but the thing is, it's one of those programmes that really irritates me because they take a brilliant story with people who were in their own lives extraordinary, and then they add a load of extraneous crap that never actually happened in order to try and make it sexier and cooler. And it's just, why do you keep doing this?
That's called entertainment. You think I look like this in real life?
From television, and when the history itself is so exciting, it's so entertaining that there's no need to add this rubbish to it and give people a totally distorted idea of what they were doing. But I agree with you on Bond. There's got to be Bond, and if there isn't Bond, there must be The Great Escape. These are the great British televisual traditions of Christmas that I think they're important for new generations to stick with. But no televisions in houses. It's all screens and individual screens. I agree with Emma that if I had children, there would be no screens around. Not at least until they were in secondary school, I think.
Exactly, they've got their whole lives staring at a phone, and I'm simply not having it. And I was brought up without television. I've never lived in a house with television. And I just don't want it to be... It's too easy for it to become the babysitter, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would be a dream to park the little one in front of a TV and have him looked after for 2 hours by the screen. But, I mean, in what way, you know...
Fair
it's
enough.
much more fun to build.
It's great that we've got two people on advocating for no television who are on television.
Right,
it's time now
online
for
and
another
on the
break.
Radio.
That's meta.
This
That's
is multimedia broadcast.
This is very postmodern. Now, next up, as promised earlier, my panel and I will discuss some funny festive fails. Maybe it could be people disappearing from your TV screens during an interview. A bit like the one we just had with Danielle Westbrook. See you in a sec.
Monday to Thursday nights on GB News. At 6, it's Dubes & Co. 7 o'clock, Farage. At 8, join Mark Stein. And at 9, Dan Wootton Tonight, followed by Headliners. On TV, radio and online. This is GB News.
Here on GB News Live, we'll be keeping you in the picture, finding out what's happening across the country and finding out why it matters to you. We'll have the facts fast with our team of reporters and specialist correspondents. Wherever it's happening, we'll be there from 12 noon on TV, radio and online. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Dubes & Co. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Dubes & Co.
We are GB News, the People's Channel.
Why not take us home with you by visiting the GB News shop at gbnews.store. You'll find all the official merchandise, a really good present actually for yourself, your friends or your family.
We ship across the UK mainland at no extra cost. GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Mark White. As GB News Home and Security Editor, I cover those key issues that are so important to you. Our authorities, our communities doing all they can to combat violent crime. With the public services under unbearable strain, why are we still failing to control our borders? Defence, the first priority of any government, has been continually hollowed out. Can we trust our politicians to protect the armed forces? Join me, Mark White, on GB News.
We are GB News, right across the nation. You can get us on television, on radio, on digital. We're absolutely everywhere.
Amazing! You see, amazing!
You remind me of me in the European Parliament. But here's the most important bit. We are not part of the mainstream establishment. We think and speak just like you do. We are the People's Channel.
Magnificent. That's really, really thoughtful.
Come and join us on GB News, the People's News Channel.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panellists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Welcome back. It's time my panel and I got into some fun Christmas stories, starting in Ireland, where a wrapping paper debacle has been unfolding. Excuse me. This post on Twitter revealed that a first Christmas argument was underway after his brother found the expensive wallpaper their mother had bought and used it as wrapping paper. Ooh, that is a massive mistake. It's beautiful wrapping paper, though. Let's get my panel in this. David, is this an understandable error?
That's wrapping paper. Anyway, that's just
think
not.
it is?
That's not wallpaper. I think this is an entire confection for the purpose of Twitter.
Wow, you are so cynical on this
I know, it's
holy
terrible, isn't
Christmas
it?
day.
Absolutely terrible. My dear younger brother used to get round this very well by going to a chocolate shop and buying a box of chocolates, and then while he was there, smiling sweetly and asking if they'd wrap all the rest of his presents for him as well. Which I think is just about the best way you can possibly get around the fact that no men can wrap presents properly.
Look, I'm going to have to disagree with you there as someone who has spent 40 hours. I mean, I don't let my wife do the wrapping because she just, you know, no offence to her, she's got many brilliant qualities, but getting those corners right is, you've got to get it's all about the corners.
It is. I rap.
And who's got the patience? Come on.
Well, I do. I feel like at some level, now whether they can, even though my youngest is 5, whether he's really taking it on board, how beautifully... Also, I'd like to think that when they look at photo evidence, when I'm taking, that's really what it's all about. So when I take the photos, I make sure when I'm getting them, like, unwrapping it, so when then they look back in, like, 30, 40 years' time, they'll see those corners and think, wow, my dad really loved me. That's the plan.
Does this change when you have children? You actually start to care about things like the corners on wrapping paper?
Absolutely. Well, Emma, tell me, you've got a 2-year-old. Does he know
I wrap
wrapping
presents beautifully, and I really do. It's the only thing that I can say proudly I'm really good at. I'm really good at wrapping presents, and it is about the corners. And also, just little things like getting the sellotape. You don't want it, you know, bunching up or anything. You've really got to just cut it nicely, get it on nicely. I don't bother... Do you bother with all ribbons and things like that?
Oh, no.
No. It's just about nicely wrapping. No, when they're tiny, they really don't care. They can unwrap a banana. It's just about pulling things off, you know, pulling off a cardboard box, jumping in, all of that. But no, you do a lot of wrapping when you have 5 children. My parents used to wrap for sort of from about the 20th to about the 24th, just wrapping our presents.
That's what I've been doing. That's all we've been doing. We've just sort of been gradually bringing them out of the car where they've been hidden. And sort of
hiding them, getting them all, and then organising who's going to what, you know.
That's
a lot of...
It's been a nightmare.
Happy Christmas.
And we're Jewish. That's the crazy thing. It's like, come on. But yeah, I mean, Mara, what do you think about this story, though? Do you think that there is... I mean, are you as cynical as David here?
Well, I don't know, maybe it was an honest mistake, but I hate rapping as well. Well, do you enjoy rapping, did you say?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I can't stand it. I was rapping so many presents last night.
Yeah.
And it's just such a labour to fold the corners, as you were saying. I was so rubbish at school, at arts.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of artwork, I would say. Getting those... getting the paper around, all kinds of different shapes. And honestly, I'm at an age now where I don't want to bother with peeling off bits of paper. I'd rather just have the present under the tree. I don't really care about knowing if it's a box from Cartier or, I don't know, a pair of socks. I just want to get straight to the gift. I think it's a waste of time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
OK, fair enough. Well, look, I'm less cynical than you, David. I think it did happen. And I think that his mum's got good taste.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I think he saved his mother from a catastrophic taste error there.
Because it's OK as wrapping paper, but it's appalling as wallpaper.
Oh, I liked it. OK, that says something about me, I guess. Comedian Alan Carr has shockingly shared his Christmas fail on Instagram after failing to wash out some red hairspray. Let's take a look. And for the benefit of radio viewers, poor old Alan's hair is still very red, and he's even got a bit on his forehead as well. So that is definitely a Christmas fail. Let's get the panel on this. Come on, then. Who of you dyes your hair? I see some dyed. Come on, someone.
Not anymore, but anybody who knew me as a 17-year-old will remember the shoulder-length black hair that for a year I sported.
Come on. So are you telling me you're a proper goth?
Oh, no, I was playing in a rock band and we did a bit in the States, and so I had long, curly black hair. I thought, you know, if I do this, I'll just be like Slash and someone will give me a record contract. Unfortunately not.
And then you put on the tie, part of the hair, the
I've got to show respect to you and your viewers.
Look, I appreciate that. That's very
courtesy.
Well, it's funny you should say that. Let's have a little look at this fine young man in his little... there he is. That was me in my bleached blonde days. My Johnny Rotten, that was my little band time as well. And then it all fell out after I peroxide it. There you go. A little lesson there for all of us. So, yeah, it's the right thing. I mean, I mean, this is for anybody who has dyed their hair. And actually, I've got to be honest with you, I just done my hair this week. I thought, you know what, I'm going to be on TV on Christmas. My beard is looking insanely white and it's all grey at the temples, what hair I've got left. I was like, you know what, I'm getting older. I'm going to get out some Jest for Men. I'm going to do it. But you've got to, look, if
but
he's
wouldn't
watching,
that have been seasonally appropriate?
Well,
you think big white beard? You
I was also afraid. I've been putting on a bit of weight, and I was worried that people would.
The Father
mix me
Christmas
up
of
with,
GB News.
Yes, it's not a good look. And perhaps the biggest festive fail of all now: angry shoppers across Britain have taken to Twitter to lambast Sainsbury's after unpacking their turkeys in anticipation of a traditional Christmas lunch, only to find the birds to be rotten and inedible. Not much of a change there from normal. Let's take a look at some of the complaints. All right, we have various complaints here. Zoe complaining about being charged 40 quid for a rotten turkey. Someone else saying their kids are crying and they had to eat beans on toast. Oh, man, you're getting the picture. Now, there was a big story this year, Emma, about how turkeys were going to run out. So I'm wondering if this is partly because people saw that and were like, I'm going to get the turkey early, so I've got one. And perhaps it was obviously too early. Obviously, I'm probably going to the wrong person as a vegetarian there.
Yeah, I don't know. And also, if you get your turkey, presumably you get it and it's frozen, you freeze it, and then why would it rot?
I'm guessing maybe their freezer broke it, or they got their... Some people don't like to freeze it because they think that sort of changes.
Well, if you get it fresh, then you get it the day before and it would be fresh. And if you get it frozen, then you shouldn't be... I don't know why it would be a rotten turkey. It sounds like...
I am probably asking the worst person in the world.
Yeah, look, I'm not
asking a 20-year vegetarian for some turkey advice.
You can call me a 20-year-old as well. It's OK.
OK, yeah, well, you can take either of those things there. Right, Mark, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I agree. I think you should get it fresh. I mean, I'm not too sure how you can get a rotten birds, but I've actually been hearing of more people trying different kinds of meals over Christmas. For example, Christy McGuinness is now feeding her family chicken nuggets over Christmas. So there's a few celebrities out there that are trying new ways to serve on Christmas Day. So I don't know, maybe you could try that one.
I could try that one there. I mean, I do want to say, I'm going to just guess here, David, that you're a man about tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so you think
but this is yet more vindication of my view that turkey is useless and go for something else. I can only imagine that it was a load of turkeys that have been frozen, sent on to the supermarket and then thawed out to be sold, and they've gone.
Well, OK, let's talk about alternative Christmas dinners. What do you guys think of this? This is what our producer had for dinner today. This is Christmas lunch/dinner. There's Mark there. He's got some white bread with butter on it and some weird curry tin thing. That almost made me cry when I saw him eating
me very, very sad.
in the office. I was like, this is the saddest sight I've ever seen. He looks happy, but that's not a good look.
I hope you're all taking him out for a proper Christmas lunch after this, just to say sorry about that.
We do not let our producers out of the studio. They get locked up back in the basement afterwards, after they've done their job. Right. That is a pretty sad state of affairs there.
No, look, Christmas is about eating what makes you happy, enjoying yourself and eating what you want. If he was happy eating his white bread and... mess, then, look, let's not criticise him, OK?
Wow. Emma...
She says, defensively, not knowing where to start with the Christmas dinner.
Emma being very nice there on this Christmas day. Fair enough. Right, we've reached the end of the first hour, but don't go anywhere. We have plenty to come after the break, including a celebration of Christmas traditions around the world. And before that, a look at the best of festive telly through the years, including ourselves. See you then.
Looking ahead to tomorrow's weather, and the UK is looking dry across the southeast, but showers elsewhere. Some will be wintry in the north. Let's take a look at the details. It will be a cold start across Scotland with some icy stretches in places. Further wintry showers will also move into northern and western areas with a Met Office yellow, snow and ice warning in force. Boxing Day will also start cold across Northern Ireland with a yellow ice warning in effect. Showers will also spread across the country throughout the morning. Many northeastern parts of England will start the day dry with a patchy frost. Further west, though, there will be some wintry showers around. A few showers may also move into northwest Wales early on in the morning before becoming more widespread across Wales as Boxing Day morning progresses. The showers also possibly wintry over the higher ground. Boxing Day morning across the Midlands will start on a chilly but bright note. Some cloud, however, will build as the morning goes on, and it will feel notably colder than Christmas Day. Any overnight rain across East Anglia will quickly clear during the morning, leaving a dry and bright morning. It will be feeling colder, especially in the northwesterly wind. Cloud and rain will also quickly clear Kent and Sussex, leaving much of the southern England dry with spells of sunshine during Boxing Day morning. A few showers, though, may begin to move into the southwest. Looking ahead to lunchtime, and showers will continue across northern and western areas, with eastern areas largely dry and bright. And that is how the weather is shaping up during tomorrow morning.
I'm Mark Dolan. Join me at 11 on GB News for Headliners, in which I'll be joined by two of the UK's top comedians discussing tomorrow's papers. If it's an important story, we'll cover it, but we'll have some fun along the way. Headliners, the late night paper review that won't send you to sleep like the others will. 7 nights a week at 11 p.m. on GB News.
Monday to Thursday nights on GB News. At 6, it's Dubes & Co. 7 o'clock, Farage. At 8, join Mark Stein. And at 9, Dan Wootton Tonight, followed by Headliners. On TV, radio and online. This is GB News.
Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Join me, Dan Wootton. I'll bring you the sharpest takes and hottest debates. Do you not believe in prison?
I don't believe in prison.
I'm completely stunned. I guarantee you there'll be no spin, no bias, no censorship.
I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed. So I guess they've always been quite woke. That's Dan Wootton Tonight on TV, radio and online. Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Lawrence Fox, on GB News. Frank, fun, fearless, and sometimes serious. Much as I love a Friday night punch-up, what I really want is a battle of ideas. I want to look at things differently. I want to hear different voices and engage with your unique experiences. Every Friday at 7 p.m. on GB News.
Hello, I'm Esther McVeigh.
And I'm Philip Davis.
Whether you're watching or listening on TV, online or on radio, we handpick the latest stories, debates and expert opinions for your weekend. So whether that's politics, news or showbiz, we've got it covered.
Join us every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on GB News.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for Gloria Meets. In exclusive interviews, I'll be finding out who our politicians really are and what they really think.
It's something that you would never want anyone to suffer.
I didn't know what channels there were. I didn't think I'd be believed.
I must have weighed about 7 stone and I'm 5'8".
My instincts was to sort of cover this up. I mean, clearly that was a mistake.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's Eamon Holmes here from Breakfast on GB News. We're not just on your television and your screens, you know.
We're on DAB plus digital radio, so you can listen to your favourite shows on the move.
If you've not yet listened to GB News Radio, it's very simple. We're on your radio player and TuneIn apps, on your smart speaker, phone or tablet, or online at gbnews.uk.
Take us with you wherever you go. GB News Radio.
You never have to miss a moment of the People's Channel.
Welcome back to A Merry Christmas Tonight Live. Still to come on the show, Narinder Kaur is here to talk about the best and worst Christmas telly. We'll be examining some weird and very wonderful Christmas traditions from around the world. And at 10:30, my panel and I will check out what's making the headlines in the Boxing Day newspapers. But first, let's get the news headlines from Tatiana Sanchez.
Josh, thank you. This is the latest from the GB Newsroom. The King has used his Christmas broadcast to praise individuals, charities and faith groups supporting those in need. In the historic first address, the King also sympathised with households struggling with the cost of living crisis, speaking about the great anxiety and hardship people are facing. Earlier, he attended the royal family's traditional Christmas Day church service in Sandringham. And the King and Queen Consort were joined by the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children. GB News' royal correspondent Cameron Walker says the King highlighted the selfless dedication of the armed forces and the emergency services.
His Majesty also paid tributes to the armed forces and emergency service workers who had worked over the period of the Queen's death, but also in the months since. I think it was particularly significant he referred to specifically the public sector workers, including teachers and emergency services, although, as I've already mentioned, because in the last month there have been public service strikes. Nurses have gone on strikes, train drivers have gone on strikes, even ambulance drivers have as well. Now, the King did not officially specifically refer to the strikes. He remained very much impartial, but he did give a slight nod to the work and the service that the public sector provide.
Now, an update for you on another one of our top stories for today. And 2 people are missing after an avalanche in a skiing area in Western Austria. That's according to local media reports. The avalanche happened around 2 p.m. local time this afternoon, and it was initially thought that 10 people had been buried. However, 2 people were rescued early on and both went to separate hospitals. The 6 remaining were uninjured. And the search is continuing for a gunman who killed the 26-year-old woman in Merseyside on Christmas Eve. She was celebrating Christmas with friends and family when she was shot and killed. Police say she wasn't thought to be targeted. The woman was taken to hospital where she died from her injuries. 4 men were also taken to hospital with gunshot wounds after the incident. Merseyside police are urging anyone with information to come forward.
Now is the time for our communities to come together with us to show that the use of guns on our streets will not be tolerated. Our thoughts and condolences are very much with the family of the victim. Today, they should have been celebrating the joy of Christmas. Instead, they're trying to come to terms with what has happened and come to terms with the loss of a much-loved daughter and sister.
Over 1 million Americans and Canadians are facing Christmas Day without power as a winter storm has continued to sweep across North America. According to reports, 28 people have died so far in weather-related incidents across the country. Nearly 3,000 flights were cancelled yesterday, with some airports closed. New York's governor has declared a state of emergency. And the Prince and Princess of Wales have shared a Christmas painting created by Prince George. The 9-year-old prince painted a reindeer with 2 robins sitting on its antlers. And the message accompanied with that picture says, "Merry Christmas." TV, online and DAB+ radio. This is GB News. Now it's back to Tonight Live with Josh Howie.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Christmas Day special of Tonight Live, me, Josh Howie. Coming up in the second hour of tonight's show, Narinder Kaur will be with us shortly and we are going to be discussing what TV her family have been loving and hating this Christmas. Comedian Tobias Persson will be joining us from Sweden and we'll be also looking at other Christmas traditions around the world. And we'll be reviewing the Boxing Day papers at 10:30 as Fleet Street's finest give their verdict on the King's first Christmas message. Staying with me until the end of the show under contractual obligation, my brilliant all-star panel of political commentator David Oldroyd-Bolt, author and columnist Emma Wolfe, and the TV personality and entrepreneur Ryan Mark Parson. Time now for a bit of a chat about Christmas telly though, even though this Christmas is our Christmas telly, because we all know that there are moments during the festivities when everyone just wants to sit down, shut up and put something good on the box. Or your channel changer is broken, in which case we're grateful to have you. Joining me now to discuss this, I am delighted to welcome Narinder Kaur, who spends plenty of time on screen herself. Merry Christmas, Narinder.
Merry Christmas, Josh. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm kind of over the whole thing, though, I have to say.
The whole of Christmas?
The whole of Christmas Day, the family, the cooking, the kids. I am over it.
Are you being treated now? Are they actually serving you?
No, they're not. They've all just gone to their own rooms. We've all had a bit of a squabble. My daughter's unhappy with her brother. He shut the door in her hand. I thought I had to go to A&E. And then the husband decided that he wasn't going to help. And yeah, it's been your normal Christmas.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to say. That sounds like that's pretty much my house going on there. But I assume there were some good times as well. How did lunch go?
Lunch went, well, no, that didn't go great either because I decided to make a curry and my daughter went off it because she obviously wanted turkey, but we're having that tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, really? You're going for the turkey tomorrow then?
We're doing that tomorrow because we don't eat meat on a Sunday. But my daughter then took a picture of the curry and put it all over Snapchat and called it child abuse.
Yes, I sort of always wince when people talk about the snowflake generation, but that does sound like it's maybe taking it a little bit too far. So what have you been watching then on TV over the last couple of days?
So every action movie you can think of, because my son is 17 years old, so we've seen Taken 1, Taken 2, Taken 3, Mission Impossible 1, Mission Impossible 2, 3, every action movie you can think of. Today I quite enjoyed the cookery programmes. Ainsley Harriott was very good. I like to watch the cookery and sit there and think, oh, I want to make that, oh, I want to do that, and then I made none of it.
You should get your daughter to watch it in anger. Like, Mom, why aren't you doing this? And you've been watching. So, and how old's your daughter, if you don't mind me asking?
She's 15 and she does a lot of cooking, actually. And I said, well, if you want, she does do a lot of cooking. She's very good. But then I said, look, the King's Speech is on. Let's all sit down and watch a King's Speech. And no, the kids went upstairs. So I sat there like that on my own watching the King's Speech.
That's like, it's the first one.
No.
Come on, this is like what they're going to remember, surely.
My kids are too rogue. They said, we don't want to watch it. We don't want to watch anything to do with the monarchy. And they went upstairs.
Wow. There
I know. My kids are out of control, Josh. I don't know what to do.
You know what? You don't ask me. You're asking the wrong person. When I left the house,
are out of control.
It was just absolute meltdowns about my 5-year-old who just hated he liked the presents at the time, and then he was like, I hate all my presents. And I was like, all right, mate, I'll see you later.
Why would you say that? A 5-year-old is hard work.
Really hard work. He's not very good at regulating himself. And unfortunately, I'm not very good at regulating myself. And thus we have two.
Oh, so you're like my husband, because then the kids have a meltdown, then he starts shouting, then everyone starts shouting, and then I have to sit in the middle, and then I start screaming because I give it a bit of time. And then I think, no, enough's enough. I mean, it's too much at Christmas.
It is. We need to get school back on. They need to get back into school.
Get them back in school tomorrow, I say.
Absolutely. And what about your daughter? 15, is she watching the Taken movies? There's a sort of law of diminishing returns with the Taken series.
No, then she goes upstairs and watches something else because she says, why do we have to keep watching action movies? He always gets his way, as in her brother. No, they won't watch anything. We managed to sit down just before and watch Home Alone, New York.
Okay, now the New York one.
Yes, that was on. I think it was ITV. And we managed to watch that for 45 minutes in silence. No one spoke. And I was like, thank you, God. And then someone said something and that was it. Game over.
But that, I would argue that has sort of become a classic. That is the film. If you want to watch a film with all of your family, and you've got young ones particularly, that is a great one to watch.
Home Alone. Home Alone is the best one. I'd say Grinch is great, and I would say Paddington Bear is a brilliant one as well. Yeah, there's so many great family movies. But do you not think it's the same old thing every year?
Yeah, but I'm wondering if there's actually comfort in the sameness of it. Like re-watching those movies as they get older, sort of it celebrates somehow the passing of time. And you can sort of remember when they first watched it. And I know I like, certainly with great movies, like something like Groundhog Day, or, like you can always notice one little touch or something that you hadn't noticed before.
Yes. I tell you what I don't understand. I don't know if you watched it. It was on this afternoon, The Nutcracker. I don't know whether it's just too intelligent for me. It was like a ballet and it was like an opera.
I'm going to go with you on that one. I remember going along to see it live one year, and I was just like, this is actually really boring.
Was it really boring?
I thought so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, give me Die Hard any day. Now, that is the ultimate. Has your son watched that?
I think we've done Die Hard as well, and we've done Jack Reacher, and we've done all of them. All the action movies have done. And I did enjoy the King's Speech, Josh. I really enjoyed the King's Speech.
Yeah, I think he delivered. I think there was probably
I
think there was quite a lot of pressure on him, obviously. This is the first one. It's hard. His mum obviously nailed it. She'd had a lot of time to really perfect it. So I thought
I think King Charles did a better job, and I think we've got a greater future with him than the Queen. I think the Queen was a bit boring, actually. I'm sorry. But I think King Charles, he's going to be defender of all faiths, I think that was just, and when he talked about gurdwaras and mosques and synagogues, he talked about all churches. And I thought that was just, that gave me faith. And I think he spoke out way more than what the Queen would have. And I think that was also comforting because it's somebody that actually, he recognised public sector workers. He recognised that communities are all helping each other and we're in a cost of living crisis. And I think that was nice. I think that was a positive monarchy, that he's going to have a positive impact on our lives.
You know what, I agree with you, but of course his critics might say this is him getting political and he should...
But I think the monarchy should, and I was pleased he did that. I do not think he went too far. I think he did it brilliantly. I think he's going to be a great monarch if he does get more political.
OK, you know what, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. And now you're done. This is your final bit of work, I guess, for today.
I am done.
What is the rest of the evening? What does the rest of the evening hold for you?
I'm going to go to bed because I am absolutely exhausted. I'm a little bit hungover from last night and I just need to get to bed. And I don't want to hear any more fighting. I don't want to hear any more of this. And it's done.
Well, thank you so much
so
for joining us. No, not at all. Look, this is families. We're all together on Christmas. Not at all. That is just you keeping it real. And thank you so much for joining us on Christmas and sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you, Josh.
Take care. Coming up after the break, Tobias Persson will be here to tell us all about Christmas in Sweden. And we will also be discussing different Christmas traditions around the world. But first, as we continue our mission to lift your spirits on Christmas night, let's take a look at the annual Dachshund Sausage Walk in Hyde Park.
Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Join me, Dan Wootton. I'll bring you the sharpest takes and hottest debates.
Do you not believe in prison? I don't believe in prison.
I'm completely stunned. I guarantee you there'll be no spin, no bias, no censorship.
I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed.
So I guess they've always been quite woke.
That's Dan Wootton tonight on TV, radio and online. Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents. Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for Gloria Meets. In exclusive interviews, I'll be finding out who our politicians really are and what they really think.
It's something that you would never want anyone to suffer.
I didn't know what channels there were. B, I didn't think I'd be believed.
I must have weighed about 7 stone and I'm 5'8".
My instincts was to sort of cover this up. I mean, clearly that was a mistake.
Join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's Eamon Holmes here from Breakfast on GB News. We're not just on your television and your screens, you know.
We're on DAB plus digital radio, so you can listen to your favourite shows on the move.
If you've not yet listened to GB News Radio, it's very simple. We're on your radio player and TuneIn apps, on your smart speaker, phone or tablet, or online at gbnews.uk.
Take us with you wherever you go. GB News Radio.
You never have to miss a moment of the People's Channel.
My name's Tom Harwood and join me 9:30 a.m. every weekday for The Briefing, your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about what's going on in politics today.
I wonder if this is a deal that might need to be like the biscuits in this factory, twice baked.
Is there not an opportunity here to win out against the extremes?
Tom Harwood, GB News.
What are you going to do about it?
Things should have been done differently, and they certainly are being done differently.
Don't miss it. The Briefing with me, Tom Harwood, 9:30 Monday to Friday on GB News.
Hello, I'm Simon Evans. Join me on GB News for Headliners at 11 p.m, where I'll be joined by two of the country's top comedians as we take a look at tomorrow's newspapers tonight. If it's a big story, we'll be covering it, I guarantee, but we'll also have some fun along the way. That's GB News Headliners at 11 p.m. We won't put you to sleep, unlike some of the other pay-per-review shows out there. So join us, 11 p.m, 7 nights a week.
Welcome back to the show. Turkey dinners, Christmas crackers and drunken rows are part and parcel of a British Christmas. But what happens in other parts of the world at this time of year? I'm delighted to say the comedian Tobias Persson joins us now from Sweden to tell us what he has been getting up to. Merry Christmas, Tobias!
Merry Christmas, hello. Sweden calling, thank you for a wonderful show.
Yes, well, now
this could be a
is that the correct way to greet people in Sweden at this time of year? Do you say Merry Christmas? What do you say to each other?
We do. We say God Jul, which obviously sounds like, Yuletide. Yule is, yeah. God,
good Yule. Oh, good Yule. Okay.
Good Yule. Merry Christmas.
And is it a big deal? I mean, here we've got the hats, we've got the jumpers. I see that you're wearing those as well. Is it a big deal out in Sweden?
Yeah.
It's huge.
It is a big deal, yeah. Yeah, it's huge. But it's mainly about eating and watching animated films. I mean, we have the same. We eat all day, we drink all day, and then we sort of fall asleep. We dance around the Christmas tree and all that. The biggest thing in Sweden, I would say, apart from the food, is watching 3 o'clock in Sweden. We watch an hour of old Disney films, and it's like a holy, the whole nation just stops and watch Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and all that. So it's I don't know why it's been going for 50 years.
Really,
we watch American films.
Was it the first sort of thing that crossed over or something? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I mean, all through my childhood, everything just stopped. You put down, your knife and fork. Look, Donald Duck, and it was exciting, like in 1983. But nowadays, try to get my kids to look animation. Look.
Oh, really? Oh, so now maybe the tradition is over. Now maybe the tradition might be coming to an end then with this generation. Oh, yeah, here we go. We've got some clips here.
Oh, you have it. Look, this is the famous footage. Yeah.
That's
every
so
time,
strange.
3 o'clock every year, we watch this. Look at this guy doing the chessboard. And my dad and all dads in Sweden says, "Oh, I would love to do that. Just one stroke of, it's the same. Like you said, you want the same thing every year. You sit there, and you can almost lip sync, and that's part of the tradition. It's silly, and you're sort of half drunk, but you love it.
Connects you as a society. Tell me about this dancing around the Christmas tree. I haven't heard of that one before.
Well, we dance around the trees and we sing old Swedish songs. I mean, it's hard to translate them. We sing about frogs and weird things. It's a lot of, but we dance around what else? And we eat porridge. And we put an almond in the porridge. Do you do that?
No.
You put an almond and you have to find, the guy who finds the almond gets a prize, a kiss or a drink or whatever. And everyone has to eat porridge for an hour. And the guy who finds the almond wins something. Wow. It's a very poor tradition, but so animated films are clearly better.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. It's so interesting how Christmas is such an integral part of different societies, but of course how these different traditions have gone in very varied directions.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's all I know. I've always done that. You just eat chocolate, you drink, and you try to celebrate. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just fun to be around your family, right? I mean, I think most people think that we Swedish people meet up in a sauna and we sit there for 8 hours, and it's not like that. But we try to meet up, like have you seen Fanny and Alexander, the famous Bergman film?
No,
where there's 45 people dancing. That's utopia. You get everyone that you don't see around the year. You try to sort of mix and socialize, like for 1 year, for one day per year, and then you don't see them for the rest of the year. So you sort of do everything that night.
That does sound fantastic. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the sort of the British Christian Christmas traditions we have. Do you eat turkey? Is that a big thing?
We do. Turkey, ham. We celebrated Christmas yesterday. Did you know that?
Oh, so okay. Now I didn't even.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I'm done.
Why do you celebrate
this is just for you. This is just decorations for you.
So why do you celebrate it on Christmas Eve then? What's the idea there?
I don't know. You have to ask the biblical people. I have no idea. It's just one of those things.
And we don't you? You just go with the flow.
Sorry?
You just go with the flow.
Yes. Yes, and I dressed up as Santa Claus. I love that because I was Santa Claus last night. I went up, my sister's son is 3 years old, and that was the first time he saw Santa Claus, or Father Christmas, as you said. So I had to, leave the flat to buy the newspaper and walk out and come back and traumatize him, which was fun.
Now, did they guess that it was you in any way? Did you leave any identifying clues?
You've seen me on stage, Josh. Come on.
Yes, I have.
Of course
okay,
you wouldn't.
you're a fantastic
I did the performance. It's like the King's speech. Come on.
I'm just saying, because for the last 10 years, I have played Santa Claus at my children's nursery. So as they've all sort of gone through the nursery, I've always been Santa. And I always have to take off my glasses because I'm always afraid of them figuring me. But the problem is I'm absolutely blind without them. So it does mean that I spend an hour just kind of bumping into things and poor children traumatized.
So you walk around like this, ho, 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 ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, that's it, essentially. And only one of my children actually did figure out it was me. But I got to be honest with you, I don't know, I did lose respect for the others. I was like, really? You can't tell this is me? Like, guys, you need to up your game. This is it. And
but that was your performance.
Oh, mate, you know me. I go method. I was doing it for
method acting. I know. Yeah, but it's fun. I mean, Swedish people don't normally socialize. We like you guys. You go to the pub fairly often, right? And you meet up and you have a drink and you talk about your life. In Sweden, we just stay at home and watch the neighbors. And then once a year, we dress up and drink and sort of watch American films, and then we go home. So it's kind of sad, really. We don't socialize as much as we should.
Maybe we get it the rest of the year. And what about presents? Is that a big deal as well?
It is a big deal, yeah. And grown-ups always say to each other, let's not buy anything this year. Just give presents to the kids. Yeah, of course. And then your partner secretly, sneaks out and buys you, a book or whatever. And you have to do the same because you know that she will buy or he will buy. So it's one of the, we're not going to waste money. Just give the kids the presents, and then you have to buy something, right? Actually, 10 years ago, we had that deal, my wife and I, and we said, no, let's not buy anything, just for the kids. Okay, deal. Yeah. You don't buy me anything, I don't buy you anything. Deal. I bought her a book anyway, secretly, because I knew she would give me something. And, she gave me tickets to see the Rolling Stones in Sweden.
Okay.
So a book versus 2 tickets to see Rolling Stones. So didn't come out too good in that one.
She's very tricky. I don't know. My sister this year, when we went over a few days ago, she was like, let's not do presents for the kids this year. I can't be bothered. But I felt a little bit out of order to me because I've always bought her kids, now, but the thing is her kids are now sort of 17 and 19. And now that my kids are going to finally be getting some presents from her, now she wants to end that tradition. That seems wrong to me.
Clever.
Yeah.
Just at the right,
I know, this is not on. And what about, did you get anything today? You didn't get Rolling Stone tickets today then?
Yeah, I got this.
Oh!
The Swedish Bible. No.
Did you really get that?
No, I'm kidding. This was... No, I got socks. It's a tradition. My kids always give me socks because I keep losing my socks and there's always holes in them. So I got socks and books and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know what they always ask me. What do you want? I've got everything I want. I always say, but I don't know. Yeah, I just like to eat and watch films.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do.
I bought myself a book, wrapped it up, and gave it to myself. That is literally what I did today. I was like, oh, thanks, guys. And actually, I said to my second eldest son, I was like, oh, mate, how did you know this was the book that I wanted? And he was like, oh, yeah, I knew it because I'd heard you say it. Like, totally dead. Like, he just straight in on it. He took credit. He just, I was being sarky, and he was like, nope, yeah, I got you that book. And he went with it. So, somewhat proud of him there. Now, last question here. What are you up to, Tobias, in 2023? Are we going to see you back here on Free Speech Nation?
I hope so. That's the plan. Yeah. I mean, I always try to come over. I mean, it's always fun to come to the UK. As you can see, I've got no friends. I've got lots of time to decorate. So I need to come over and do some live gigs. And I need to watch the King's speech. It was good, right?
Yeah, of course. If you want to culturally fit in over here. I mean, there's only so many times that you can read that ABBA book.
Oh, how dare you? This is the Swedish Bible.
That seems like that seems almost racist to be given an ABBA book in Sweden. That's like the equivalent.
Yeah, it's like giving... I don't want to think of another joke, because I don't want to end on the bad... No, exactly. I take your point, yeah. But I like ABBA. Come on.
No, who doesn't like ABBA? Tobias, mate, it's lovely to see you.
Lots of people.
Hopefully I will see you in the next few months. And thank you very much for joining us today. I would say it's Christmas Day, but really this is your Boxing Day. So it's not as special, really.
This is my Boxing Day.
This is your Boxing Day.
It's my day off, so I'm just going to read about ABBA and have some herring, and we're going to perform a little nativity play tomorrow about the chosen one, Greta Thunberg.
Your chosen one, mate. Oh, Greta, yeah.
Yes.
Very good. All right, mate, take care. Let's get our panel in to talk about some other festive traditions. And in Austria and some parts of Germany, the adults dress up as Krampus, the Christmas devil. I think we can have a look at that now. Wow. David, that is pretty terrifying, isn't it?
I don't think the Germans are really known for their lightness of touch and sense of humour when it comes to traditions like these. It is weird. There are some very odd European traditions that I suppose come about over the years and nobody really remembers why, but they become ingrained. And that's the lovely thing about tradition, that, as you said, it provides a warmth and a background to these things. And I think, the Christmas traditions that one invents with one's own family or friends can be wonderful. For instance, I've got a group of friends who always get together for Christmas. They're all in their sort of 40s and 50s, and they have a tradition of wearing different hats. So one will wear a fez and one will wear, say, a solar topi, and one will wear a flat cap and one will wear... And they just sort of swap round, and it's something they do, something that gives them the reliability and the ease of when they get together. This is part of what makes it special for them. I must say that if Krampus came down my chimney on Christmas Eve, I would not be terribly happy to receive him.
You'd have a shotgun. Yeah, I mean, Emma, would you take your 2-year-old son to see Krampus, the devil?
No, I wouldn't. And actually, some of these Christmas characters are quite frightening. We have a little friend, a friend of my son, who is terrified of elves. My son is OK with elves, but when I took him to his first Santa's grotto a few weeks back, he's used to Santa now, but when we went into the grotto, he was completely terrified at the fact that Santa was there in real life. It's sort of like meeting it's like meeting God or something, actually meeting Santa. So, I do think it's quite a big thing for children to meet these characters, or to have elves, for example, leaping off shelves, because the elf on the shelf, and now the elf is off the shelf, and all this stuff.
All this elf action is getting very confusing.
It is confusing, especially when you live in Islington.
Well, let's have a look at Japan now. They're all about fine dining. Let's take a look. Yep, Christmas in Japan. They sit around and they eat KFC. Ryan, Mark, you can't approve of this, can you?
No, I don't. I don't at all. I think it's quite strange. But maybe they've started a trend, like I said earlier. Christine McGuinness is now giving her children chicken nuggets, Paddy and Christine McGuinness. So maybe it is going to become a thing in the UK. I am very traditional. My family are very traditional. We have breakfast in the morning, a typical English breakfast, and then we, typically at about 1 o'clock, we will have a turkey, and that's exactly really like the royal family. And I think you can go off these traditions, and it's nice to have that sense of nostalgia, because I go back years when I was a child and going to Harrods and seeing Father Christmas at the grotto and having turkey every year, or another bird, or wearing different jumpers every year that we all do as a family. That's very nostalgic, and it just exemplifies what I think Christmas is all about, is those very individual memories and just having fun with your family. But I certainly would not be having fun with my family if they decided to order KFC or McDonald's, or any fast food for that matter, on Uber Eats or Deliveroo. I would probably leave and go back home.
Well, I think they have a good reason for doing it over in Japan, but I like that you just dropped how you used to go to Harrods when you were a kid.
Yes, and I still do. I won't stop going to Harrods.
Hamleys is the place to go for children.
No, you said I was in Hamleys 48 hours ago.
I was too.
Oh yeah, traumatised.
Oh my God.
Imagine like the 5 all on different floors. I was with the youngest 2.
Nightmare.
Queuing up for that bear that you have to stuff. I had to queue for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, to get in.
Oh my God, yeah, it was absolutely insane. And I stupidly thought that for some reason it'd be like, no, I'm going to double bluff it. Like, people think they're going to go in, they think it's going to be busy, so they're not going to go. So that's when I am going to go.
That's what I thought. I thought no one will go on the 23rd. It'll be really empty.
What
really
idiot
peaceful.
would do that? This idiot here. 2 of us idiots. Very good. Right, time now for another break, because we have all tomorrow's front pages in, and we are about to discuss the big stories with my panel. See you in 3.
We are GB News, and we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for bringing us your conversations, for helping our great nation find its voice. We are here for you on radio, television, and online, across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
It's not the BBC, you actually get your facts right.
We are proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi there, it's Stephen and Anne.
At breakfast from 6 a.m, you'll always be caught up with everything you need to know, the latest headlines, opinions and debates.
We'll bring you the good news and the bad, but most of all, we're here for you.
Remember, send in your views and let us know what you would like us to talk about.
That's because we're your news channel. And every morning at 6 a.m, it's breakfast on GB News.
Monday to Thursday on GB News, it's Bev Turner Today from 10 a.m. We're going to be here for you, our GB News family, to keep you up to date, but also make you smile.
The guy went from puberty to adultery.
And I can't wait to bring a few of my own opinions.
I have no time for cultural totalitarianism.
We'll engage in passionate, but always polite debate, with your thoughts and opinions at the centre of it all. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akue, Saturday and Sunday afternoons on GB News. Expect fiery debate and passionate discussion as me and my panel tackle some of the biggest topics hitting the headlines. It's a place for everyone's opinion. No one gets cancelled, but no one gets an easy ride.
Oh, she's on it today!
Be ready for conversations that are fierce, frank, and of course, fun. Every Saturday and Sunday afternoon from 4 p.m. on GB News, the People's Channel.
Join my show Farage, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and there you will get opinion, analysis, debate, and I'll cover stories that nobody else dares to touch.
You've been cancelled. Join the club.
Oh my goodness me! And then for the last 15 minutes, talking pints. We're over a drink. We have a civilised conversation with someone. We very often disagree, but we do it in a grown-up way. Come and join me on Farage.
We are GB News, the People's Channel.
And right across the United Kingdom.
You can find us on Sky Channel 512.
Virgin Media Channel 604.
Freesat Channel 216.
Freeview Channel 236.
And YouView Channel 236.
You can also take us with you on DAB Plus Radio.
With the GB News app and at the website gbnews.uk.
We're absolutely everywhere.
Come join us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's just after 10:30 p.m, so it's time for this. So let's take a look at tomorrow's papers right now. The headlines are in, and we're going to start with the Daily Mail. King's message of love and hope, and we had a little chat about that earlier. He salutes his beloved mother, and we've got a picture of Kate there in a very trendy-looking hat. Looking very beautiful, if I may say that. And obviously we've got Santa up the top, advertising the Daily Mail, as you do. The Daily Telegraph, I feel for families who are struggling, says the King. And we got a picture of William and Kate again. The kids all dressed up very smartly. Last gasp as well for COVID data behind lockdowns. Yay, more COVID news. And a lot of stuff at the bottom there as they get into things. Road chaos on the way to the Boxing Day sales. Oh, wow. All right, The Times. King's speech is a gift for tireless health workers. Well, I think the real gift that they would like is a raise. But, there we go. And now they've decided to include King Charles, and he's sort of walking there with a bit of a grimace, a bit of a wince. They've chosen quite a strange photo. I don't know why they've chosen that one where two of them don't look particularly good. And also, AI cure for bed blocking can predict hospital stay. OK, well, there we go. It sounds like that's pretty much needed at the moment. The Guardian the King, they did actually put the King in there somewhere. King put spotlight on cost of living crisis. We got a picture there of some swimmers at Sutton Park getting naked. A man slightly overweight in mid-dive. Respect to him. And their big story is monumental cultural shift with a third more stay-at-home fathers. Been there, done that, didn't like it. The Daily Express. King Charles uses his first Christmas message to address the great anxiety and hardship experienced by many trying to pay their bills and keep their families fed and warm. And they're calling that King of Caring. And a much nicer photo there of the entire family. And they've managed to sort of, right in the background is a certain Prince Andrew, not looking so happy and fuzzed out. I don't know if that was Photoshop or not. The Daily Mirror. Charles praises selfless NHS. That's the King's first Xmas speech. Yeah, it seems like I'm sensing a theme here. Not much news happening. And The Independent, warning over generation of children held back. The Independent, they have not gone with any King Charles stuff. And they've also got some football photo. And I don't care about that. So let's move on to The Sun. King of Hearts, but strangely with a picture of our princess up there in a hat, and he's talking about their Charles's tribute to beloved mother. That's the closest that The Sun has got to actually putting some news out for a few days now. Well done, The Sun. And the Daily Star, scare of the dog. And they're talking here as a dog set fire to a house. So my kids are watching this. Hi, kids. And that's why we're not getting a dog. There we go. That is your papers. OK, then. So what do you think there, Ryan, Mark? Let's go back to the Daily Mail there. Everybody seems to be focusing on the King's speech. Obviously, a good film. His first one. Did you watch it?
I did. I tuned in at 3 p.m. I stopped everything to watch it.
After going to Harrods?
After going to Harrods and watching Emily in Paris. No, I thought it was very good. I thought he delivered it mellifluously, and it was a very elegant speech. And a lot of pressure on the King's shoulders after his mother, for nearly 70 years, delivered a very warming speech at the end of the year at Christmas time. And I felt that he did a very good job. He was empathetic to the situation with workers right now, especially health workers. And also, being the defender of faith, he exemplified that message very clearly in the speech. And I thought it was a very good job overall.
Yeah, Emma, did you like it as well? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I agree, yeah. Well, no, I listened to it on the radio. And
of course, sorry, no television.
Absolutely. And I thought it was well delivered. Well, yeah. And, you know, obviously he had to touch on the cost of living crisis, but I felt that he did it sort of elegantly and with compassion. And, I mean, the reception to King Charles has been pretty good. I think there was lots of sense of, you know, what kind of king is he going to be, and also not that much love for him as Prince Charles. But I think he's had, as they say, a good few months, a good start. Let's see where it goes. I mean, I think the real thing for 2023 is going to be what happens with the royal family, because we've got this bombshell memoir coming out in January, Harry's memoir. I know we haven't talked about Harry and Meghan tonight,
well,
which is maybe a blessing in disguise. But anyway, I think that is going to be really interesting to watch, and how he deals with it, because at the moment, you know, Charles and William are just basically dealing with it by not dealing with it.
Yeah.
So I'm just really kind of intrigued to see, well, what do Harry and Meghan do now? They've been shouting and screaming and saying all this stuff, and there's been a dignified silence from Buckingham Palace.
Well, what do you think then, David? I mean, is it a dignified silence or is it a snub? They obviously didn't get mentioned at all. Prince William did.
The messaging of the imaging of the accompanying VT to the King's speech was very interesting, because it quite clearly set up who were going to be the important members of the royal family during the King's reign. You had, of course, the King and Queen, then the Prince and Princess of Wales, then Princess Royal, Princess Anne, the Earl and Countess of Wessex. There was no Duchess, Duke of York, no Princess Eugenie, no Princess Beatrice. And I think this is showing that what Prince Charles as Prince of Wales said was going to happen, a much more slimmed down, more streamlined, more business-like monarchy is going to come to pass. For the Sussexes, I think it is a dignified silence on the part of the palace, because they realise that there's nothing to be gained by fighting back against these people. All you have to do is give them yet more rope and watch them hang themselves. I think the change in public reaction to particularly the Duchess of Sussex, since they began this bizarre campaign of self-promotion and of airing their dirty laundry in public, has been one of the more welcome signs that the public remains sane, that they have seen through what are quite clearly, to me anyway, quite clearly attempts by the Duchess of Sussex to portray in a false and egregious light the royal family in order that she can be this great victim and carry on her failing career in the public eye. I'm so glad that the people of this nation, and I hope of America as well, have seen through it, and I simply hope that in the years to come her husband will realise it too and come home.
Well, I was going to say, I feel pretty proud of us that we didn't manage to talk about the Sussexes for a good hour and a half. But would you agree with that, right, Mark?
Yes, I would agree. And I think it was very clear in the King's speech to have working royals prominent within the programme and not to include the Sussexes or the Duke of York, because I don't see how there would be any benefit to adding them to that programme, because so far, the Sussexes have publicly desecrated the royal family, and I would disagree in the sense that I wouldn't place the blame just on Meghan. I also think Harry is just as culpable in terms of trying to bring down his family. Both participated in this Netflix programme, and they have pumped out so much animosity since leaving the royal family, despite saying they're going to America to seek privacy, yet we're seeing so much media from this couple who are absolutely desperate for attention. I wouldn't be surprised if the Duchess of Sussex is trying to be the next Kim Kardashian.
Well, I was going to say, I would argue that it seems like it's more for money. You know, they get the podcast deal, they get the Netflix deal, the book deal, and then, of course, when you are involving the content makers, because of course they're not actually making the content themselves.
Oh, they want their pound of flesh.
They want to have this controversy. They want to add these images. They want to, you know, and maybe that was somewhat naivety, certainly on Prince Harry's part, to think that that's, you know, no one wants to pay millions of dollars or whatever for just a sort of damp squib of like, oh, we all love each other and we get on. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, and there are rumours that after the Queen's death, he did try and, you know, take some of the more damaging stuff out of this memoir. And, of course, the publishers said, no, absolutely not. You know, we want this to sell. We're waiting for January, keeping it for the January, sort of the fallow period in the book trade. And it is going to be explosive if the Netflix documentary is anything to go by.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was a lot of gas there and a lot, you know, I mean, there was some things, but we'll see how it
There's something about the written word, though, that can be a lot more damaging.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we'll see how many people...
Particularly if you had a decent ghostwriter.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't written it.
Let's be clear. Oh, my God.
I don't think he's read a book, let alone written one.
Yeah. But, you know, David, the King Charles has got a lot of credit for talking about the cost of living crisis. He's also talked about the NHS. Like I said earlier, but do you think that there is, you know, he might get some flack from people to sort of to getting maybe a little bit too political? It could be seen as a bit of criticism.
I think some people will criticise him for bringing it in at all. Others will criticise him for not going far enough. And I think it's not at all unusual for the sovereign in his, in her, as it was for 69 years, Christmas message to touch on issues that affect the nation. I don't think that saying that the nation is suffering from a cost of living crisis is an overtly party political thing. I think it's the paternal figure of the nation recognising that his subjects are suffering. And I think it also ties in with the deeply Christian message that permeated his speech, you know, for choosing to stand in the choir at St George's Chapel at Windsor rather than behind a desk in Buckingham Palace. I think it showed immediately that His Majesty was associating himself with Christianity overtly, even though, of course, he did what he said he would do and stick to being defender of faith, which is a perfectly reasonable thing. When you look at your coin and it says King Charles FD, Fidei Defensor, that can be defender of the faith, but being Latin, it can also just be defender of faith. And I think that the King has been clear for many, many decades now that that was going to be his role, because he's seen the way that the demographics of the nation are changing, the way that the national culture is changing, that Christianity is not anymore the monolith that it was in the national religious life in 1952. I think it's perfectly reasonable, but he's also, I think, by choosing to stand where he did and rooting his message in the message of Christ, one of love and compassion and forgiveness, showing that though he will defend all faith, he is still a Christian monarch.
I love it. I love David. You sit on the sofa with David and you get a full-on history lesson just on a Sunday night.
Get a bit of Latin.
You do. Yeah. I'm going to look at my coins tomorrow. I don't have many coins, but look at the coins and I'll understand it all. It's just such a lovely way of delivering history.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much, David. I mean, let's talk about another story now. Let's see what David can give us about the history of stay-at-home dads. I sense that this is...
No, I'm the expert on this
Well,
one.
I can only speak as a stepfather, and not having to live with my stepchildren is extremely useful.
How does that work? A stepfather who doesn't have to live with...
Well, because my partner and I live separately, you see. But I think I'm in favour of this...
Woody Allen style.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in favour of this, in that I think there should be a redefined role for the father in the modern day. I think that the old system was too hands-off. I think that it was... frankly, it put all of the onus of parenting on the mother. However, I'm deeply sceptical of the changes that have taken place over the past 40 or 50 years, of the increase of children being brought up neither by mother or father because both parents are working. I think it's one of the most iniquitous points of our system, that it essentially forces women to go to work in order for people to be able to buy houses. I think that there is, in the innate way of being of a woman, a more or a greater inclination towards parenting, particularly in the early years. So, fine, if you are particularly inclined as a father to stay at home, then that's great. But I think that we must, as a nation, as many other nations do, recognise that there is a great benefit to mothers being given the ability by the state and by us as society to, for those early years, stay at home and nurture the child and build that really important bond.
Well, I'm going to agree with you 100% there, and I feel like maybe the best blessing that I had as a parent was that my wife and I worked in jobs that allowed us to both be very hands-on, certainly in those early years. Do you agree, Emma? Those early years are the most important, up to like...
They are, and they're incredibly special. So I'm a single mother, so for 29 months now, I have been at home, like, looking after my son on my own with him, but also then working nights, mornings, early, middle of the night. So you can kind of make it work somehow. But I think this headline in The Guardian about this monumental cultural shift with a third more stay-at-home fathers, it's still, if you actually look into the details, it's still 1 in 9 stay-at-home parents is a man. So the other 8, 8 in 9 are still women. So it's overwhelmingly women who are staying at home and looking after kids.
Sure. Not me, though. Anyway, time for another break, but when we get back, my hard-working panel will be revealing their greatest Britons and their union jackasses. See you soon.
Monday to Thursday nights on GB News. At 6, it's Dubes & Co. 7 o'clock, Farage. At 8, join Mark Stein. And at 9, Dan Wootton Tonight, followed by Headliners. On TV, radio and online. This is GB News.
Here on GB News Live, we'll be keeping you in the picture, finding out what's happening across the country and finding out why it matters to you. We'll have the facts fast with our team of reporters and specialist correspondents. Wherever it's happening, we'll be there from 12 noon on TV, radio and online. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and you can join me every weekday 6 till 7 on Dubes & Kerr. Me and my panel will get stuck right into the day's events, and I can tell you, in fact, I can warn you, expect some robust debates, some strong opinions and perspectives from both sides of the fence. It's about you at home as well. I love to read out all of your comments, or at least as many as I can. So join me, Michelle Dewberry, Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on Dubes & Kerr.
We are GB News, the People's Channel.
Why not take us home with you by visiting the GB News shop at gbnews.store. You'll find all the official merchandise, a really good present actually for yourself, your friends or your family.
We ship across the UK mainland at no extra cost. GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Mark White. As GB News Home and Security Editor, I cover those key issues that are so important to you. Our authorities, our communities doing all they can to combat violent crime. With the public services under unbearable strain, why are we still failing to control our borders? Defence, the first priority of any government, has been continually hollowed out. Can we trust our politicians to protect the armed forces? Join me, Mark White, on GB News.
We are GB News, right across the nation. You can get us on television, on radio, on digital. We're absolutely everywhere.
Amazing! You see, amazing!
You remind me of me in the European Parliament. But here's the most important bit. We are not part of the mainstream establishment. We think and speak just like you do. We are the People's Channel.
Magnificent. That's really, really thoughtful.
Come and join us on GB News, the People's News Channel.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panellists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
It's time to reveal today's greatest Britain and Union jackass. Let's see who my panel have nominated. Emma, you have chosen the Queen as your greatest Briton. I feel that's going to be a popular choice. Tell me more.
I did. I wasn't even, a particularly passionate monarchist before the Queen's death, but we had so much of the Queen last year, and I just think that it was just wonderful to see, to hear so much, to watch so much footage and to hear so many of her words and think about her legacy and everything. I just don't think there's anyone really. I was sort of looking back at 2022. I don't think there's anyone. I mean, there were so many idiots and so much nastiness and scandal and murk in 2022. I don't think there's really anyone that one could choose apart from the Queen for 2022.
All right, well, David, you've nominated none other than the King. Oh, my gosh, the two of you don't fight each other now. He's been in the news a little bit today, maybe?
He has. Well, I think there's one simple reason why it has to be the King, because he has managed a transition which was going to be the most difficult time of the first few years of his reign, taking apart, say, global war. I think he's done that beautifully. He's done it seamlessly. He's put the nation at ease with the idea that he is now the monarch. I think the funeral obsequies of Her late Majesty were done brilliantly. The King played his part with dignity, but didn't push his way to the fore. I think he's really played a blinder.
Fair enough. I mean, Ryan Mark, you've also gone for the King. I'm detecting something of a royal theme here.
All royalists here.
Yeah.
Well, I would say the King because I thought the speech was amazing. After 69 years, the Queen delivered the Christmas message, and he did a good job in terms of filling his mother's shoes. It was mellifluous, it was elegant, and after dealing with so much rubbish from Meghan and Harry this year, I think he's led the charge in being dignified and being a great ambassador for the royal family and for the country around the world. So, yes, that's my greatest Britain.
Respect to the King, but I'm going with Emma. It's got to be the Queen, just for the last time, Right, let's see my panel who've nominated for their Union jackass. Emma, you have gone for Prince Harry. He certainly does get the odd mention around here. David, you've gone for the big name in the shape of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. And Ryan Mark, you've gone to Joe Lycett. You know what? I've got to go for Rishi Sunak, just only for yesterday or when he was handing out the food, and it was cringeworthy. I felt for the guy, but it was awkward.
I think that's so unfair.
It was.
He was
you think it was unfair to choose him?
Rishi Sunak said nothing wrong. He was serving up. He was helping out at a food bank. He was serving homeless people meals, which is great.
Well,
he said to the man, said, something about, are you working? If you actually read what happened, and Rishi Sunak said, are you in? And he sort of hesitated. He was aware that the man probably wasn't in work. What do you meant to say? Oh, you're clearly homeless.
I agree with Emma, and the reason, and that's not the reason I nominated him at all.
Nice.
Okay, guys, sorry. You know what? It's good to see that the Christmas spirit's over. Thank you for watching tonight. Thanks so much also to my fantastic panel. I'm staying around to present headliners. Hope you're going to stick around for that. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Looking ahead to tomorrow's weather, and the UK is looking dry across the southeast, but showers elsewhere. Some will be wintry in the north. Let's take a look at the details. It will be a cold start across Scotland with some icy stretches in places. Further wintry showers will also move into northern and western areas with a Met Office yellow, snow and ice warning in force. Boxing Day will also start cold across Northern Ireland with a yellow ice warning in effect. Showers will also spread across the country throughout the morning. Many northeastern parts of England will start the day dry with a patchy frost. Further west, though, there will be some wintry showers around. A few showers may also move into northwest Wales early on in the morning before becoming more widespread across Wales as Boxing Day morning progresses. The showers also possibly wintry over the higher ground. Boxing Day morning across the Midlands will start on a chilly but bright note. Some cloud, however, will build as the morning goes on, and it will feel notably colder than Christmas Day. Any overnight rain across East Anglia will quickly clear during the morning, leaving a dry and bright morning. It will be feeling colder, especially in the northwesterly wind. Cloud and rain will also quickly clear Kent and Sussex, leaving much of the southern England dry with spells of sunshine during Boxing Day morning. A few showers, though, may begin to move into the southwest. Looking ahead to lunchtime, and showers will continue across northern and western areas, with eastern areas largely dry and bright. And that is how the weather is shaping up during tomorrow morning.
I'm Mark Dolan. Join me at 11 on GB News for Headliners, in which I'll be joined by two of the UK's top comedians discussing tomorrow's papers. If it's an important story, we'll cover it, but we'll have some fun along the way. Headliners, the late-night paper review that won't send you to sleep like the others will. 7 nights a week,